Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So, what does food mean to you? Well, join me today as my special guests are a chef from Nova Scotia who has a delicious restaurant in Hoboken, New Jersey, and he's going to share that with us, and a blogger. She's actually we're going to visit Paris, France. So she's from Paris, France, and she is a gluten-free expert. And this is a compilation episode where I compile interviews from episodes in the past that are maybe on the same topic. So tonight's episode is all about the food. And before we get into the interviews, I want to share my top 10 summer inspirations. Number 1 is fresh herbs and fresh starts. Basil, mint, and rosemary are the scents of summer and new beginnings. Number 2, the sounds of cicadas and clinking glasses. Nothing says July like dinner al fresco and great conversation. Number 3, sun-ripened simplicity. Tomatoes, peaches, and lemons, yum. Ingredients that need no introduction. Number 4, La Dolce Vita days. Living like you're on an Italian terrazzo or terrace, no matter where you are. Number 5, frozen escapes, granita, gelato, and sorbetto, the cool trio that makes summer sweet. Number 6, beach reads and bites, pairing a good book with a picnic-worthy panino. Number 7, golden hour gatherings, an aperitivo with friends as the sun dips low. Makes an evening unforgettable. Number 8, the return of travel tales. Passport stamps or backyard stories. Summer invites us to explore these. Number 9, culinary traditions on ice. Chilled versions of classic dishes, gazpacho, caprese salad, pasta salad, and cold rice salad are all so good and so refreshing. And number 10, lastly, and I think most importantly, is to savor every second, because summer, like the best meals, are best enjoyed slowly, and they don't last very long. So enjoy every second of your summer. Stay with me for this week's interviews. Today I have as a special guest Bee Calliet, and she is a blogger and expert on many things about natural healing and natural foods. But today we're going to be talking about one of her areas of expertise, which is gluten-free baking. Is that right, Bee?
Yeah, well, first of all, Maria, thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm very excited to join you. And yeah, gluten-free baking has become one of my area of expertise.
And I just want to mention to my listeners, because I always tell everyone to travel with me, and today we are traveling to Paris with Bee, and she's told me she's like right in front of the Eiffel Tower, so we're also traveling today. Bee, how did you get into, I know you have a blog, which actually tell everyone the name of your blog so they can look that up.
Well, so the name of my blog is Go Healthy with Bee, or Bea. Bee is spelled Bea, short for Beatrice. Well, I first started a gluten-free diet back in 2018, January 2018. Because a functional medicine doctor prescribed me a gluten-free diet after having some blood tests done on me, and it was in order to reduce the inflammation in my body that was there because of some autoimmune condition and also a lot of health problems that I had. So from one day to the next, I just had to suddenly remove gluten, cow dairy, and also egg and yeast, if I recall correctly. Yeah, and technically, he announced me that late November 2017, but of course, with all the holidays, I couldn't. So I waited January on my New Year's resolution of
Was
2018 that okay, I'm going to jump right in and I'm going to remove all of these foods from my diet. And for a French girl, well, especially when you come from a family, French family who is obsessed with food, it was very, very difficult in the
I
beginning.
I can just imagine. I can imagine. But so how did you so you started did you start experimenting with your own recipes and trying to find ways to do things?
Oh yeah, I started, but it was a total mess. Pretty much everything in the beginning went to the trash because it was a very, very huge, I was, it's very different from the
Yes.
baking with gluten. So,
Yes.
at the beginning it was all a mess and a lot of mistakes. And I actually learned a lot from American blogs because, well, we are very, very behind when it comes to gluten free and many other things free in the French, resources and
Yes.
even French restaurants and everything. We are very, very behind. Even in Europe, like I know that Italians are way ahead of us. So yeah, so I learned a lot from American bloggers. And then when finally I kind of got the hang of it, I realized how it really, I understood how it functions. Yeah, then yeah, I started creating my own recipes.
Huh? Yes, and just for the listeners out there, if anyone's going to Italy, I do know I was very always very surprised how in Italy they are really into the gluten free. And if you go to like the large supermarkets, there are aisles of all kinds of gluten free products, and that's from pizza, pasta, and at first the products that were the flours and things were not that great, but actually recently I've tried some products and they are actually, I'm sure it's the same thing. Many people have experimented and all that, and pastas and pizzas and breads and things are just really, really good. And I'm sure you found some things, recipes. Now,
Yeah.
I was told, do you do a sourdough bread? Is that correct?
No, well, bread is not really my area of expertise.
Okay.
Well, I need to jump into it maybe
Uh-huh.
one day if I find the time to experiment. Um,
Yes.
but right now it's not. Well, I'm really into baking desserts and stuff.
Well,
It
that's good.
has always been my well, what I really liked before going gluten free. So that's why
Yes.
I,
I
I
think we're going to have a chef that does this sourdough gluten-free bread shortly, like in the next few weeks. And that's what I was thinking of too. So I wasn't sure what your specialty is. So what types of desserts, or can you tell me like the types of flours? Because I know there's a lot of different flours out there that people are using for desserts, recipes you find online, or even packaged products with gluten free. What types of flours are you using?
Well, my favorite ones are almond flour, but for those who are nut free, because there are also a lot of people
Yes.
who they have to be nut free.
Yes.
Tiger nut flour is a good option. It's one-to-one swap between almonds and tiger nuts. So I've created a ton of tiger nut flours recipes because they are AIP compliant, which is the autoimmune protocol for those who are following this protocol. And so I really enjoy baking with almond flour. And for those who are not grain free, only gluten free, I really love rice flour,
Mhm.
brown rice flour,
Yes.
because I really enjoy the neutral taste of it.
Hmm.
Well, need to learn how to work with it because it's a very crumbly flour. So it works completely differently from a wheat flour. So absolutely impossible to swap
Uh-huh.
between the two. So,
Uh-huh.
but I like the neutral taste of it,
Uh-huh.
and also which one. Sometimes I will use just a little bit. I will mix a little bit of buckwheat flour
Uh-huh.
uh, to give a little bit more of flavor because
Uh-huh.
it's a very strong flavor. So some people won't like it, like me, won't
Uh-huh.
like to use for example, for to make a banana bread. I will mix both brown rice flour and buckwheat flour
Oh,
to
wow.
have something that is a little bit more with flavor,
Uh-huh.
and but not too much that you really don't taste the other ingredients and you really get on only the buckwheat.
Yes.
So and there, yeah, that's probably the one that I use the most. I
Yeah.
kind of stay away by choice from flour mixes because I want to keep control of what I'm using. Because
Mm-hmm.
in flour mixes, well, they will just put the list of ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't exactly know how much they use, what ingredients, how much, the quantities they use in them, and also a lot of the mixes contain guar gum or xanthan gum, and
Yes.
I'm not super fond of that.
Okay.
I know that a lot of gluten-free people, those who are intolerant to gluten, are also intolerant to guar gum, especially.
Oh.
So that's one of my doctors told me about
Uh-huh.
that, and so I want to keep really with. As little processed food or little prepackaged food as possible. So I rather use separate flours and make my own mixes. And
Mm-hmm.
usually I don't mix a ton of flours.
Mm-hmm.
I will just use one or two and that's it.
Mm-hmm. So what types of, tell us the types of, so you mainly do desserts. Like what types of desserts are you doing? Muffins or cakes or
Yeah, well,
all of these?
if you start googling my blog "Go Healthy with B," you will automatically get pumpkin muffins that
Oh,
will
sounds
that
great.
will pop immediately,
Yes.
and banana bread, which is kind of it's funny because I'm completely French. Both, but what I mean is both my parents are French. I
Yes.
was born and raised in Paris, France,
Uh-huh.
so I'm absolutely not American, even though I absolutely love America. Well, so banana bread and muffins are definitely American, much more than French. So for me,
Yes.
it's very funny that my blog is very popular for those two very American recipes rather than
Yes.
for
Yes.
French recipes.
Oh, yes. Yes. And I know in Italy they're crazy about muffins too, and they have wonderful pastries there too, but everybody loves muffins. So
Yeah.
tell us, is there any type of a recipe that we might think of it like being a very French dessert that you've created a gluten-free version?
Well, it's not exactly gluten free because it doesn't contain gluten. The traditional recipe doesn't
Um,
contain gluten. So this one is also dairy free and egg free. It's vegan. But one of well, my friends, everyone around me that has who have tested it, really love it. It's my chocolate mousse.
oh,
Uh,
oh, that sounds, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I just use aquafaba. So
Uh-huh.
it's the chickpea juice,
Oh,
and
yes.
then and just chocolate, and then that's it. And it's like a cloud. You can, it's very light, and so all the people around me, they're obsessed with my chocolate mousse.
Oh my goodness. And there's no sugar
Well,
in it.
I don't add any more sugar than what is
It's
already
already in
contained
there.
in
Yes,
the chocolate.
that's
So
great. Yes, and that's really enough. I know some people add just too much sugar when other things in the product are sweetening it already. Oh, that
yeah.
sounds wonderful. That sounds great. So that is really a healthy version of chocolate mousse.
Yeah, well, because the traditional one will use eggs, of course, and
Yes,
also some of the time they will also add some butter and
yes,
well, oat punch. So and also apart from the fact that it healthy or not, I mean, usually it's more like heavy on the stomach. But
yes.
when they do taste mine, oh, that's very light.
Yes, yes. And
So
it's
that's
wonderful because I think people don't realize when I'm sure you know this, when you eat something that's really made of healthy ingredients, it makes you feel good also. So I'm sure if someone ate the chocolate mousse that you make and it feels light, they feel good. When you eat a traditional chocolate mousse with butter and or if it has cream or, all the dairy stuff in it, eggs, you're going to start feeling really heavy and weight it down. So, that
yeah.
also just for that, it's great. Well, that sounds great. So, B, tell us, are you planning a book or anything in the future?
Yeah, there's a book in the oven right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's well, the contract has been signed, but I don't have any
Not like
the
date. You don't have the
the date
date
for
yet.
the publishing. So
That's
my
okay.
editor, it will be a baking book for kids. It's
Oh, great.
illustrated.
Yes.
So actually that's a project that I've had for over 4 years. I started this project before creating my blog. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
it was just to empty my head, and the very first audience that I wanted to help, the very first people that I wanted to help were little kids.
Kids. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because my heart goes to them. I'm thinking, well, it's very hard for an adult to go gluten or dairy
Yes.
or egg or whatever free. But what about kids?
Kids.
Well, if
Yes.
they are invited to a birthday party or
Yes.
to any kind of event, so they're
Yes.
going to feel left out. So I
Yes.
really
Yes.
wanted them to have their own baking book
Oh,
where they
wow.
could make whatever they wanted and really don't feel like they are missing out. So,
Exactly. That's great. Well, certainly reach out to me when you have the book and we'll have you on again. I'd love to chat about that. So B, tell us again your blog. Where can people find you?
well, so they can definitely find me on my blog, Go Healthy with BEA, and also, of course, on Instagram, on Facebook, and that's it.
Okay, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing all your tips with us for gluten-free. And certainly if anyone wants to do gluten-free, that's the perfect blog because it's healthy. B, it has healthy recipes there also. Thank you so much, B. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you, Maria, so much for having me today.
Discover the timeless secrets of Italian cuisine with the Basic Art of Italian Cooking series by Maria Liberati. That's me. From fragrant basil to silky olive oil, each page is a culinary masterpiece. Taste the passion, embrace the tradition, and create your own masterpieces in the kitchen with my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. Buon appetito, and you can find the books on Amazon.com, Kindle, on marialiberati.com, and on the publisher's website, artoflivingprima.com. Oh, and my special guest today is chef, author, and executive chef of the restaurant called Halifax in Hoboken, New Jersey, one of my favorite little towns. I guess it's really not little in Jersey, but is Seadon Shouse, and he's the author of Halifax, and he's going to share with us some stories about growing up in Nova Scotia and his book and his restaurant. And wow, we have a lot to talk about. Seadon, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I guess where to start. So tell us tell us the name of the book. And I know it's related to your name, right?
Yes, the name of the book is From the Hill by the Sea,
Uh-huh.
and that's actually what my name, Seadon, means in an old Nova Scotia baby book of names. So my
Oh,
parents
wow.
found the name, it kind of fit for where I grew up, and named me, and then we named the book the same, which I think fits for the book as well.
Wow. So Seadon means from the hill by the sea.
That's correct.
Wow, that is really interesting. And what was your inspiration to write a book with your recipes? And it's got stories in it, right? Also.
It does, yeah. Every recipe has a story associated with it. Most of
Uh-huh.
them are from growing up in Nova Scotia or
Uh-huh.
throughout my travels, kind of since.
Right.
Some are more current and stories, but most are from my childhood. But
Right.
really, the inspiration. I mean, I don't know any chef that wouldn't love to have a cookbook.
Exactly.
And I mean, not to get into too long of a story. I think we're limited on time here. But
Yes.
I one of the designers for the restaurant. Anakari, she came up with the idea about 3.5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
She helped us design the logo and the name and the kind of feel of the restaurant. And she 3.5 years ago she brought to myself and the owner of the restaurant, Michael Berry, to
Mhm.
an idea of doing a cookbook kind of based off of me, but also the restaurant.
Right.
And she kind of helped design it from the beginning, and then
Uh-huh.
we kind of all together created the book.
Right.
We did a photo shoot in Nova Scotia.
Oh,
Did a photo
wow.
shoot also in a studio in Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
So it was a very kind of personal project that took a little over 3 years to make.
Wow. Wow. Oh, of course, they do take a little bit of time. I think a lot of people don't realize it. So tell us, I've only been to Nova Scotia maybe I think two times, and I just loved it. It kind of reminded me a little bit about being in like I was in Scotland or something, the landscape. Do you know what I'm talking about? I was
Yes.
kind of like got that feel, but I loved it. It's just really beautiful, bucolic, very kind of, at least it was quiet when I was there. It wasn't that, it was a little while ago. But tell us some story. Do you have any? I know you probably have lots of interesting stories, but any stories you'd like to share with us about growing up there from your book?
Well, I mean, there's
I'm
lots, but we can
sure.
talk about a few. I mean,
Yes.
growing up in Nova Scotia 30 some years ago, 40 years ago was kind of a little bit different place than it is now. It's very similar in
Yes.
some ways,
Uh-huh.
but it's very rural, or
Uh-huh.
it can be. At least where I grew up was quite rural. I lived down a mile-long dirt road right on the ocean. When I was born until I was, I think, 3 or 4 years old, we didn't have any power at all. Then
Oh,
we got a windmill for power.
uh-huh.
Then a few years after that, I think when I was 6 or 7, we got in actual power from the grid. So it was kind of a different childhood growing up.
Yes.
When I was quite young, I mean, we had our own goats. We milked our own goats for our milk for when we were kids, and
Uh-huh.
stored it in a stream in front of our house inside of a
Wow.
wire mesh thing to kind of keep it cold because we didn't have refrigeration. Um,
Yes.
but kind of growing up like that has kind of helped develop me as a chef now with all the
Mhm.
modern kind of tools and refrigeration, of course, and lights and all that, um, to kind of appreciate my upbringing and appreciate preserving preserving foods. Root cellar we had. I mean, that was the only way we could keep kind of produce cool for in the summertime was we had a root cellar underground that we kind of stored things in. So same type of growing up is now developed me into fermenting my own hot sauces, fermenting my own pickles, fermented miso, kimchi, all different kinds of items that we're doing in the restaurant,
Right.
which I kind of didn't really until developing this book realize the kind of relation to my upbringing that it really had. I've been doing
Mhm.
it for years and didn't really kind of put two and two together to realize kind of where it kind of came from.
Exactly. Exactly. So is there, I know you said the recipes aren't typical, and I really don't remember if there was any kind of like typical local kinds of things in whatever part of Nova Scotia I was in. I don't remember, but is there anything like very kind of local to, say a part of Nova Scotia that is one of your favorite recipes in the book, in the restaurant, something similar to, I just remember, I think there was a lot of great seafood there, right? Because
Of
there
course, yes.
probably would be. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
But,
so So yes, I mean the seafood in Nova Scotia is known for seafood. It's
Yes.
typical. The typical Nova Scotian cuisine is quite simple, but
Uh-huh.
ingredient driven and seasonal because it's what's available. So
Yes.
whatever's being caught that day is kind of what typically is on the fisherman's table.
Uh-huh.
Whatever's being grown in the garden is what they're eating,
Mm-hmm.
which is really what the restaurant is. Halifax is really all about as well. We try to be seasonal, sustainable, local as possible.
Uh-huh.
So in Nova Scotia, I mean, there's in the book, sorry, there's quite a few recipes that are influenced by Nova Scotia dishes. One in particular, a Nova Scotia dish is called hodgepodge,
Uh-huh.
which is a soup. It's basically a vegetable chowder, let's call it.
Uh-huh.
That's typically made in kind of late spring, early summer, with all the new vegetables. So it's with new potatoes, new carrots, green beans, kind of whatever vegetables are available in this at one time. And it can
Uh-huh.
be a mixture of any kind of vegetables. Typically, you leave them kind of whole and kind of chunky. And it's kind of a chowder in that there is a little bit of cream. It's not
Right.
super thick, but it's kind of cream, butter, vegetables, and herbs. It's very simple. So I do a kind of a version of that in the book,
Uh-huh.
but
Uh-huh.
I do it kind of with a mixture of a dish that I do on a restaurant that I have in California as well, called Timber
Uh-huh.
Cove.
Uh-huh.
And there I do a smoked trout chowder. So I kind of took the smoked trout chowder idea and the Nova Scotia hodgepodge and do a smoked fish kind of hodgepodge so it's basically a vegetable kind of based chowder that I then add some smoked trout in at the very end
Uh-huh.
to kind of make it kind of a little more unctuous, a little more kind of meal like. So that's one kind of dish that's Nova Scotian, but I put a little twist on it as well.
Yes. Yes. And that's delicious. And I think the simplest dishes are really the best. So I love it because it sounds like it's just all real local seasonal ingredients, which sounds great. So I guess I we're almost out of time, but I just wanted to ask you, tell us where we can find you. Do you have a website, or is there a website for the restaurant?
There is, yes. So the restaurant is halifaxhoboken.com.
Okay.
That's the capital of Nova Scotia, Halifax, and then Hoboken, New Jersey.com. And
Yes.
that is also where we have the book From the Hill by the Sea for sale on the website as well. We
Uh-huh.
can ship it to you, or you can of course come into the restaurant
Restaurant.
and pick up a
Yes.
copy as well, a signed copy, of course. So
Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thanks so much for being here, and much success with the book and the restaurant also. Thank you.
thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks, as always, to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's special guests. And if you enjoyed my top 10 summer inspirations, share on social media your summer inspirations and hashtag it the Maria Liberati Show, and we will share it on social media also and on the marialiberattishow.com. And as always, you can find me at marialiberati.com, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, on Twitter at Maria Liberati, that's Twitter or X, as Maria Liberati. And you can also find me on Facebook as Chef Maria Liberati, on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Vimeo at Maria Liberati, on the Binge Networks, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking by Maria Liberati channel, our YouTube channel, The Maria Liberati Show. And you can find my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble, and anywhere books are sold. And Amazon and Kindle have recently just released audio versions of some of my books, so check those out also. Until next week, peace, love, and pasta.